Absolutely. Again, this is a dream, right? Like, this is something I love what I do. I love working for NASCAR, and the opportunity for me to get closer to home and to, again, it sounds, I've said it so many times, but I mean, we get to do something that's never been done before. And in a sport that's 75 years old, to be able to say that, like, again, it's very special. Well, the footprint is a little bit larger, but not too much more from what you see on the course map. All the seating is really focused in and around the streets themselves. And then on the north end of the footprint, we have Butler Field, which will actually be a free activation area. And that was something really important to us, that with or without an admission ticket, we want everyone in the community to feel like they can be part of this event. So that Butler Field area right on the north end of the main entry is really going to be just this experience for everyone. Come on out, learn more about NASCAR, still be part of the event even if you don't have an admission ticket. And so you have that footprint. And again, the thing for us, like, we've been so focused on making sure we're minimizing the disruptions as much as possible. We understand this is a park that is used by its residents 365 days a year. So as we're looking at the course build, or we're looking at the structure build, doing that in small areas to allow for more green space to be left open longer. And especially Buckingham Fountain. That's one thing from day one. I mean, people come to Chicago, they want to see Buckingham Fountain, making sure that there is access to it as long as possible. And then immediately after the event, knowing July 4th is just a couple days later, making sure that fountain table is back open so everyone in the city can still come and see that. So the main entry will actually be off of Jackson. So essentially to the, I guess, your left of Fan Plaza, sorry. So the main entry will be off of Jackson, which doesn't require any sort of bridge or anything else. Everyone will come through and access off of there. We'll also have an entry on the south end of the footprint as well, but we're expecting most of our guests to come in through that north entry off of Jackson. And then from there, you'll have the ability to walk around through the fountain table. And then if you want to go to Lower Hutchinson Field, which is where the concert footprint is, there will be a pedestrian bridge there. There's a pedestrian bridge over the street on Columbus that takes you over to that President's Paddock Club, as well as all the seating down by Michigan Avenue. We do have different breaks in the wall, like during non-track activity, where we can move people around that way as well. But the main area to access the footprint will just come right off of Jackson and Butler Field. I think this event, what we've said this from day one, I mean, obviously we want to be here in the city of Chicago, but we're also very aware of the fact that this can really be a strong tourism boost for the city of Chicago. When you look at ticket sales to date, 48 states, 12 different countries across 3 different continents. So this is an opportunity to continue to reinvigorate Chicago after the pandemic. And the economic impact study is over $113 million in economic impact to the city of Chicago. And we take that incredibly seriously. We see that's important to us. Now that I'm a resident here in Chicago, I want everyone to see what an amazing city this is. And that's our commitment. And that's what we shared with the mayor-elect, the transition team, and really with anyone that we're talking to. We understand, I think for me, the approach is always just be able to have those conversations and understand where the concerns are or what the questions are. And again, trying to find solutions. So no matter who we're having those conversations with, there's a tremendous upside with this event, not only from a ticket buyer perspective, then you also think about the broadcast. And with NBC, they've been here a number of times. They're very excited about the visuals that we'll be able to showcase with the skyline and the lakefront, all the different landmarks, Buckingham Fountain, Grant Park. I mean, it's going to be spectacular and really an opportunity to just give Chicago tourism a boost. That is incredibly important to us in giving back to the community and becoming members of the community. Our biggest initiative that we announced right after the Daytona 500 when Ricky Stenhouse was in town was a STEM and STEAM program with Chicago Public Schools, and it's across the entire system. And right now we have about 22,000 kiddos that have been going through a helmet design competition. It's all about educating everyone about the different ways to participate and be part of NASCAR. You don't if you don't grow up with a steering wheel in your hand, like it's hard to maybe understand the different ways that you can still be involved in the sport. And so these activations with STEM and STEAM really help us introduce the different roles and jobs that you can have in NASCAR. So we see that a lot with the Chicago Public Schools. We'll be rolling out a new STEM program to all 8th grades across the entire district this fall. And so that was a really big initiative for us to get off the ground. We have, you mentioned After School Matters and All Kids Bike, 2 programs, again, giving back to the community where we're giving 8 schools bicycles so kids can learn how to ride a bike. It's a full curriculum with helmets and learning to ride details, and those bikes stay at the school. So class after class after class, year after year, they have the ability to teach kids how to ride bikes. And then After School Matters, just a great program. It was one of the very first programs that was flagged for us when we came to Chicago as something we should get involved in. And the work they do there is absolutely amazing. We're working with their arts team on a 200-foot mural that will be on display at the event. And then from there, we'll go and live in different parts of the city throughout the year. And that's just a few things. Like we're working with the Boys and Girls Club, obviously a national partnership for NASCAR, but we are working to bring it close here to Chicago, working with the different clubhouses. We have worked really closely. I mentioned Field Museum and all the different museums, the Art Institute. We have our pace car is a co-branded pace car with the Art Institute with their Van Gogh exhibit, knowing they're right by the footprint, just working with those different organizations to make a positive impact. One of the big initiatives for us to be here in Chicago is to introduce our sport to a new audience. So to me, those are questions that we need to answer. To me, in those conversations that I've had, it's not coming out of negativity. It's truly just not understanding and not having that knowledge base. And so for me, it is just being, again, having that open dialogue, answering those questions. So we work really closely with the city of Chicago and its police and fire departments on a daily basis from a planning perspective. I'm a resident of Chicago and I live here now. So for me, it's very similar to what we do on every event is planning for all of those different details. It's no different than what we're doing here in Chicago, working closely with the Chicago Police Department, Chicago Fire Department, as well as a number of other city services to bring this event to life. And I think we're all committed to doing that. The city of Chicago puts on a lot of big events. That's the one thing I learned very quickly in these meetings. This is a city that knows how to put on big events, and I have no doubt we'll be able to do that in July. The barrier and fence system is the barrier and fence system that you would see at all the other street races. It's FIA rated. It's concrete barriers with the that are about 4 feet tall with the 8-foot fence on top of that. And then from there, there's 2,000 of those barriers that will be put around the course to enclose the course itself. And, safety is a number one priority for NASCAR, and helping everyone understand what that means and what the barrier system is and the fencing and the different things that we are going to be putting in place to ensure that it is a safe event. And then from there, on the street racing that happens, that we've heard from other residents and just the city in general, like how can we help counteract that? How can we, whether it's a safe driving campaign or other things to just help reinforce what we're doing is different from that. It's a controlled course. It's professional drivers with all the different safety elements already in play. We have a 3-year deal with the city of Chicago, and that's what I'm committed to. That's what we're committed to. And honestly, again, I think the opportunity in front of us to continue to drive tourism for the city and really just promote what the city is about, not only just from a tourism perspective, but from a broadcast perspective is pretty special. And I'm committed to that. The team is committed to that. We've met with the mayor-elect and his transition team and had just an introductory meeting. Answered questions, introduced him to NASCAR and his team to NASCAR, and just reiterate that we're excited to work with him and his entire team. So Monday morning after the race is obviously starting to get the streets back open, starting to move things out of the park. I mean, that's something that it doesn't end after the checkered flag. Now it is getting the park returned to the city, getting the streets reopened, and continuing down the road with that. We all are committed to doing the best job possible, and really for me, I'm focused on doing that for year one, and we'll continue to have those discussions moving forward, but we're committed to doing this for 3 years, and hopefully this becomes like a tremendous success that we see it for years to come. I would just say I hope everyone has plans to join us in Chicago July 1st and 2nd. It's going to be a spectacular weekend. It's not only a race weekend, we have music festivals, 4 concerts that will be part of this event. And it's really going to be an experience that our sport has never seen, the city of Chicago has never seen, and we're just really excited to welcome everybody.